Welcome to part two of season 6, episode 4 of the Hall of Fame show. Kirk, Buchner, Evan, Nolan. We're the men who run notinhalloffame.com. And big news coming in a couple weeks, well, maybe a month. The United States Athletics Hall of Fame, www.theusahof.com, easy for me to say, where we're going to unveil the finalists for voting for the 2025 class. So we're looking forward to that. The ballot is ready, going to an expert blue ribbon committee that is kind of malleable right now. We're trying to add some more people, some people that I've met, some people that you've reached out to, and we learned so much doing this.
We have learned a ton. But we do have some very impressive people who said they're going to be joining us this year. So that's even better.
Yeah.
So,
and I think
we should have that ballot out and ready for everybody, hopefully at the latest by April 1st for people to vote.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, so the one thing that we sort of learned from other halls is what to do.
Yes, that is true.
Which I'm going to go with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which just made their announcement with, as their usual way of doing things, hey, we're doing this tomorrow.
Yeah,
tomorrow who it is.
So in preparation, we knew this was coming up soon. I did put together who I predicted my Rock Hall people would be. So as I said, I sent you the list yesterday after it already came out. So there's no proof of this, but I did 15 names, and I actually got 8 out of 15, which would be the second best I've ever did. Of course, they announced it before we knew it was going to happen. So there's no way of me to prove that I'm just up all crap.
Well, yeah, there is, because you don't tell lies about this sort of thing. Why would you?
I am.
What's your end game?
I endeavor not to tell a lie. So
yeah.
Whenever I can. There's no real advantage to this. I don't win some prize by doing it. But it was funny because I had several, I had 7 at the end. I wasn't quite sure for the last 3 spots. And the 3 I picked, all those 7, all were nominees and the other 4 were not, which was just completely dumb luck. I could have very well have gotten 5 as well as gotten 7. Or 8, I mean. So
yeah, and it didn't get a whole lot of fanfare.
No, they didn't even have an announcement. They just put out a press release. There was no reading off of the names like they've done before.
No, I don't understand how they
did. They not have a budget for this? Before they at least had the guy in charge of Rock Hall read it in front of in the Rock Hall. How hard is it to set up a camera in the Rock Hall and just read the names?
Tom Morello would do it from his house.
Yeah. You don't think Questlove would do it?
There's so many people who would do it.
You don't think little Steven Van Zandt would do it?
That was going to be the next person I was going to say. Well, I think
he's been wanting to do it for years. Hell, get Mr. Baker from the former NFL stuff.
Oh, he would love that. He would love to knock on those houses. He'll knock on if they're dead. He'll knock on their graves. He'll love to do it.
Joe Cocker, I just wanted to come and tell you we'll protect your legacy forever. Sorry.
Oh man.
But no, so put it this way. This class has a couple surprises, but overall, I really have absolutely no issues with the nominees.
Really? Okay, because I thought you would. I thought you'd have 2 issues. And I'll get to them as we go.
Yeah, please.
I like what sometimes we've done this before. You've sort of asked me always after if they get in, or maybe we should wait till they actually announce it. Because you always like to say, who does this help?
Yeah, right.
I don't know if
honestly, previous classes have gotten a who does this help quite a bit out of this. There's one band I still don't quite understand, or 2 bands who have not been nominated yet, who I don't understand what they've done wrong. Actually 3. But everybody else who's here, there's a direct line I can see, which is why I did as well as I did, I suppose, on my nominees. So
let's get to them.
So are we gonna do an order?
I just have the order that I'm just going from the order of what I wrote, if that's all right.
So do you mind if I do it in a sort of a different order? Do you mind if I run this?
I don't mind at all. Go ahead.
All right, cool. So I'm going to go a number of times they've been nominated. So this is an interesting group because only one of these bands has been nominated more than twice before. Mm-hmm. So this is a fairly non-considered group of people comparatively, because we've had years like Chic, 9 times before they got in. Rufus and Chaka Khan were 4. When Kraftwerk got in, it was their 6. LL Cool J 6. Rage, it took 5. So most of these.
If I could, with those 5 that you just mentioned, when they all got in, although Sheik didn't get in,
right?
Not Nile Rodgers did, with the exception of Rage. Those 4 got in through a backdoor entry, right?
Rage got in front. Yeah, the rest all got in backdoor.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
correct. Hold on one second. I apologize.
No problem.
Yeah, so they all did get in through the back door, as we just said. But this way, there is only one I can really see getting in through the back door of this nomination. And again, that's one of the things we have with the Rock Hall, is that they'll have people nominated the front end and then find their way in through the back door. Like when they put Wanda Jackson in as a senior candidate, which is younger than most of the other people got inducted that year. But the one who's had the most tenure on this list is Soundgarden. So Soundgarden, who is one of the ones who I said yes, because they went to Jane's Addiction for the second time last year, so kind of doing the grunge part of it. We haven't really inducted a ton of people out of that yet, but it's clearly a lane that they're looking at. We've got Nirvana, we've gotten Pearl Jam, but Soundgarden is clearly the next one on that list. I mean, Black Hole Sun, and just a plethora of hits that people know and an actual rock background. I really actually like this list for Soundgarden going forward. Of course, I liked it for when they were in here a couple times ago. But I think Soundgarden, they were here 2020. They were here in 2023, 2024. Like I say, went back to Jane's Addiction. I like this list for them here in 2025.
Yeah, I think it's a good ballot for them. If they get in, then I would imagine they'd look at the Pumpkins next.
I mean, the Pumpkins would seem to be like, well, it seems like Jane's Addiction is the one they're looking at next. But the Pumpkins are a great one. This eventually gets us to Sonic Youth.
But didn't they, with Jane's Addiction, I mean, like the band sort of imploded. So if you don't think that they're going to show up. Now, granted, though, I mean, the voters, again, we were talking about, as Evan said before, people can get in even if they don't actually get through. The Rock and Roll Hall, if the Rock Hall wants you, they'll figure out a way to get you in, despite what the voters think. And how many voters are there? I don't know.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Not even the voters.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the Rock Hall is a George Washington sketch of SNL. Just
I love that sketch.
What's in a hot dog? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think Soundgarden as the guardians of rock sort of on this list, not really fully, but one of them has a very good chance getting in this time. So then we have 5 bands who it's their second, or 5 artists, it's their second nomination.
Mm-hmm.
So left over from last year, we have 2 of them coming back for their second time here. The first of which is Mariah Carey, who songstress, one of the best-selling artists of all time, routinely has the #1 record every year when All I Want for Christmas Is You happens. Just comes back and back and back. She hits the top 40 year after year with that song now. One of the great voices of all time. She seems to be next on the diva list. So insofar as there are only really 2 women.
That's what I think you'd have a problem with.
On this whole list. Well, I do have a problem with that one.
Yeah.
They only had 2 men. Although, to be fair, with my nominees, I did have Mariah Carey. I only had 2 women as my nominees. Again, not what I wanted, what I was expecting.
You're predicting.
I was predicting. And Mariah Carey was one of the 2 women who I predicted. The other one was, and I understand my thinking was faulty on this, was Diana Ross, who still needs to be in for a second time. She's in with the Supremes, not alone. But I figured when she was out at the Grammys and everybody, basically the internet stopped and everyone stopped the entire thing and plotting for her, they would have realized that you probably nominate her. But I realized afterwards that the nominations had already happened at that point, as far as we could tell. But I had Diana Ross as my other woman here. But no, it is Mariah Carey. I mean, Mariah Carey based on the way I know people hate the definition of rock that the Rock Hall is using, but based on what we have seen, she 100% belongs in what we're doing. Whether she gets in, I don't know. This time, it may take another couple times for them to finally get around to it. I mean, how long did it take Whitney Houston? Well, she got in her first time.
Right. But it took her a while to get nominated.
So last year she had Cher in her way, and Mary J. Blige, which really shouldn't have affected her, but Cher definitely does. They also let Dionne Warwick in the back door, that way. Mm-hmm. But Mariah Carey, with only one other woman to compare her to, I think, and a woman who is not like her in any way, I think that she has a decent shot of getting in here. I'd say close to 50%.
Well, should we go to that woman, because that's part of your returning candidate?
Yes, she is a returning candidate, not from last year, but from 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Cyndi Lauper, who not only has her pop career, but also has a Tony for Kinky Boots, which was she wrote and was in charge of Kinky Boots, which was the 2013-14 Tony Award-winning musical of the year, somewhere around there. But very, very strong candidate. The fact she's here twice is a good sign. There aren't that many other women from the 80s who are, I mean, there are lots I can put up there, but there aren't a ton of them left that they're probably going to be looking at, as much as I love Susie and the Banshees. If not this year, this is a not too long situation. For the fact she's here for a second time is a very, very good sign for her going forward.
Yeah, if I look at overall career, Mariah has the better overall music career. Cyndi is more of the rock star.
Correct.
And gun to my head, if I can only pick one woman, which...
Yeah, I know, I get it.
But
we say this every year. It's not fair to compare women against each other because we don't do that with the men, but that's exactly how the system works.
Well, we also do genre with genre.
We do genre with genre, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's not like I'm ever going to have a ballot on this, and sometimes I don't know that I even want one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would just probably get really frustrated. But Cyndi would be my vote.
Okay. I mean, she's certainly more fitting in the rock and roll title than Mariah Carey.
She is. She's also someone, unlike Mariah Carey, like, I don't remember the last time Cyndi had anything that sort of charted, but Cindy's also one of those people. If she said, you know what, I'm going to do a tour, she could probably do 4,000 seat venues easily. Mm-hmm. If Susie did that, just because you mentioned her, Susie and the Banshees, probably not.
Probably not. I know. I do love Susie and the Banshees. So
Cyndi Lauper is still very well known. She's huge in the LGBT community. I don't remember, make it sound like it was so long ago, but 3 years ago, I interviewed, I think I told you about that, some people, they were pushing the Cyndi Lauper into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And they were all part of that community. So, I mean, there's certain residents, so it does help her keep her more in public than others. That doesn't hurt if your name is still there.
Well, I mean, I said that originally back in 2021 when Mary J. Blige was nominated for the first time. I said she is a gay, like a gay icon, and you're like, how much is that going to matter? And I said, I don't know, but she got in on her second ballot.
I should know this. Is Mary J. Blige gay?
I don't think so, but she's a big fan of she has a lot of ties with the album.
I mean, I like her music, but I know nothing about her personal life.
I also don't either. But Queen Mary is someone you don't mess with. That much I know.
Okay.
But she got in on her second time when Cyndi Lauper was up last time. She had Kate Bush, Sheryl Crow, and Missy Elliott on the ballot with her. Chaka Khan got in through the back door. So they had a lot of women up with her. She was the only one who kind of got left out. Again, with only two ladies here, her chances are pretty good.
And let's also be blunt. We're doing this in two parts. When we talk about the other sports Hall of Fames, we just talk about the Basketball Hall of Fame. Your politics don't mean a whole lot. On Rock Hall, it can break you.
It can. Yeah. Yeah.
Rock, Kid, Nugent, Ted.
Yeah.
I don't think Nugent was ever really a candidate, but Kid Rock's career is fascinating when you look at all the styles of music he's done.
Yeah, and I mean, he had a number one hit as a duet with Sheryl Crow that people forget about.
Who didn't they, and they also dated, did they not?
I don't remember. That's something that you'd have to ask my wife about. I do not know the answer. So, all right. So we have three other two-time nominees left over from a couple years ago with Cyndi Lauper on that ballot. Was I picked this one. The combination that I don't want, because I think they should go individually, but if they go in together and get them both in, I'm cool with that. That's Joy Division and New Order.
Yeah.
Very, very different bands with the same people, except for, of course.
Except for the
lead.
King Curtis, yeah.
Love Kid
Your most wanted?
I'm sorry?
That's your most wanted personally? Because it is for me.
For who's on this list?
Yeah.
I'm going to say there are three who I'm very, very passionate about. Two are here for the first time who I predicted. But yeah, if the three of them are, I would say of long time, yeah, I love New Order. Joy Division is fine. They're good. They sell a lot of t-shirts. But
yeah, that's what I should have worn because I have one of them.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, New Order is, I think, one of the most influential bands of the 80s by far. And absolutely deserves to be in the Rock Hall. So yeah, they if I had to rank them 1, 2, 3, probably Joy Division New Order is number 1 for me.
Okay.
Soundgarden's also up there too, because we need Soundgarden to get in so we can get to the next stuff. Joy Division New Order is a kind of a standalone. I don't know.
Well, no, because then you have the Smiths, right?
Yeah, I get because so I had the Smiths were in that go round with Depeche Mode and The Cure, and then The Cure and Depeche Mode are both in now. New Order was kind of stuck behind Depeche Mode. New Order getting in, I guess it helps the Smiths, but I don't see it directly helping the Smiths as much as The Cure and Depeche Mode did.
Sure.
So honestly, I think New Order getting in helps Devo more than anybody. But Devo's a three-time nominee. Devo was another one who I predicted would be on this list, but did not get here.
But they could still get in through the back door. When Kraftwerk finally got in, they weren't nominated that year.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, and then I had one of the nominees because that year was Kraftwerk, LL Cool J, both got in through the back door. And I said that Kraftwerk getting that LL Cool J was a waste of a spot because he probably would have put in, they should have put Chaka Khan instead or Dionne Warwick. And one of the ladies in nominee committee got mad at me on Twitter. Saying LL Cool J 100% deserves it. Yeah. And she's like, he 100% deserves it. I'm like, I'm not saying he doesn't. But why are we putting someone this modern in when we have more pressing people from further back who should be in instead? There's no reason to put LL Cool J in over either Dionne Warwick and Chaka Khan, both of them are now in. But at the time, yeah, I got yelled at on Twitter by one of the ladies from the nominating committee. So
the nominating committees, can you say which one or no?
I don't remember her name. I could go back.
Very important member of the committee.
Yeah, I mean, again, yeah, one of the people who was on the senior committee because he was put in as like a senior, essentially, musical excellence. So I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean, that's more on me than on her. She's much more important in this whole thing than I am. So
I don't know. It's a regular show with a public figure. She doesn't.
Who knows? Maybe she is. I don't know. Apparently, the threshold for public figure is lower than I thought. So
well done. I deserve that.
All right, so it is. So we have one more person returning from the 2023 ballot since we sort of went back there.
Yep.
And this is someone I did predict would show up here because they love Jack White. It's the White Stripes.
I thought they were going to get in right away.
I did too. So I have them as, I mean, of all of the rock bands that are out there, just straight up rock that's available to them. You got Soundgarden, you got the White Stripes, and you got one other who's going to be up here in a second. It's hard to argue with. I guess you got the other one too. The other one I put here from left over from last year back again is Oasis. who I figured would be back because they've reunited. We'll see for how long.
Well, then you got to strike while the iron's hot, and you can get them.
Strike while the iron's hot. If you're going to get Oasis in, they seem to be getting along. Do it now.
That'd be the most anticipated speech if they show up ever.
That would be.
Yeah.
I wonder if they had to be on stage one at a time. But
they deserve it.
Oasis of the White Stripes, very much in the rock wing of the Rock Hall. I mean, the White Stripes bass line for Seven Nation Army is one of the 5 greatest bass lines of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's up there with Superstition and Freak Out and what is it? Rick James. Why can't I think of the name of the song? Super Freak. Yeah.
Well, one of my favorites is the opening of "Love Is the Drug."
Oh, that's another great one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you're making a top 5 bass lines of all time, you're probably, I mean, White Stripes is Seven Nation Army is 100% in that conversation. So I think this is White Stripes and Oasis. I think have a very good chance of both getting in, but who knows exactly what they're looking for, because sometimes it's Dave Matthews Band gets in the first time, and sometimes you're I don't know, Iron Maiden, and they just hate you. So
yeah, though they're not even on that radar. If Meg White gets in, is she probably the most ineffective? No, Sid Vicious is in.
Yeah, so certainly worse than Mary Chapin Carpenter, who is a massively underrated drummer. So
Sid Vicious, a musician in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame who didn't play on the album, didn't play in the concerts.
He had a cool name, man. And he and Nancy apparently had a relationship that everybody wants to talk about all the time. They're in so many songs. Anyway. All right. So that's all of our returning nominees.
Okay.
So then we have a whole bunch of first-time nominees. So let's start with the one that's furthest out of left field. One of my two, I was like, I'm surprised they're here. Come on, baby. Let's do the twist. Chubby Checker.
Still alive.
So I kind of felt like they were mostly done with the 60s at this point. I mean, we haven't had a real 60s solo artist since Donovan.
That was 60s act. I could be wrong here. I want to say Procol Harum was the last one they tried.
Well, Donovan was 2012.
Okay.
So since then,
Procol Harum didn't get in, but
yeah. So Paul Butterfield's Blues Band, but they got in the back door from remember correctly. Steve Miller Band, technically, they're more a 70s group. ELO's more 70s. Moody Blues, I'd say more 70s. I was trying to think, when were the Zombies? They were 2019. So the Zombies are really the last of the ones here, because since then, everyone since the Zombies has been well past the 60s.
We're looking at a guy here in Chubby who he's been eligible since the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame existed.
It's 1986. Yeah.
And he said, "You're going to put me in when I'm not put me in when I'm dead. If you're going to put me in while I'm alive, while I can still enjoy it." So I imagine, and I don't know how Chubby's health is these days, because I haven't.
I actually saw him in something not too long ago. He seemed like he was okay.
Okay, good. That's fantastic, because he's got to be in his 80s.
Yeah, he's in his 80s.
Okay.
But yeah, so the last person from the original year of eligibility to be nominated, I think is, hold on, let me make sure I have this right.
Mary Wells?
So Link Ray, who was inducted for musical excellence.
Right.
Dolly Parton, Carole King, Rosetta Tharpe, Nina Simone. She's early influence. Joan Baez, Five Royal. So there are a bunch of female singers from there. But outside that, the ones left over, Benny King, who's nominated the first 3 years and never again. Chubby Checker now. Chuck Willis, his 6 nominations, hasn't gotten in. Conway Twitty is nominated once. Johnny Ace was nominated the first 2 years and never again. Mary Wells nominated the first 2 years and never again. The Chantels have 2, the last one in 2010, the Dominoes in 97, and that's pretty much it. There aren't that many people unless you're a big Petula Clark. I guess Petula Clark, Paul Anka, Neil Sedaka. I mean, there are a few left, but it is Herbie Hancock is the one. Honestly, for me, I just don't understand what he would have to do to get nominated because he is so important. That if you want a musical excellence, you want an old time person to put in. The founder of the electronica music movement, Herbie Hancock, is my guy. But yeah, it's shocking to see Checker here. I thought they would just have moved on from all the stuff. I don't know if he gets in. I have no idea how to treat him.
Well, he's not even just 60s. He's pre-Beatles.
Yeah.
So, so if you like, your kids are 9, 10.
So they're 10 and 12.
10 and 12. Okay. Would they know the twist?
They know the twist.
Okay.
But that's because Grandma and Grandpa have listened to nothing.
Right. But I mean, there's a lot of music from that era that they're not going to know.
Correct.
So yesterday, sorry, go ahead.
I say yesterday, I went with my daughter to Savers because they're looking for something for her, and they had some old CDs. So I was browsing old CDs, and I found a very almost perfect condition version of the soundtrack for The Big Chill from which is a great movie.
Yeah.
Just reading off the songs my daughter, how many she knew on the way back to the car. I was like, heard it through the grapevine. She's like, nope. Tracks of My Tears. So like, nope. I was like, you don't know any of these songs? Whiter Shade of Pale? Nope. Like, it was crazy that she didn't know any of them. A lot of that has been, I mean, a lot of it's a loss. It's like my dad listened to big band music all the time, and that's just not on the radio anymore. So it's going to get lost over time. But Chubby Checker and the Twist is one of the few, I guess, remaining. I'm just shocked to see him.
And he's alive.
And he's 83. I looked it up.
And 83, okay. He's alive. He can enjoy it. You know, if I'm a voter, sentimentally, is he one of my top 5 guys? Personally, no, he's not even close. Would emotion carry me over this? It very well could.
But they also have that
musical excellence about it real hard, man. I really would.
They also have that musical excellence and early influence. He's most likely to come in through that door of this group by far.
The whole dance music stuff of the early 60s where you're doing like one move or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
That's the biggest one. People still know it. You can still probably rip that off and put it in a stupid commercial.
True. I mean, I could mash potato and I can do the twist, but so
I can't do the limbo rock. That's for damn sure.
That's the problem. So anyway, Chubby Checker here for the first time, which is nice to see. Another one who I teased about a little bit earlier, who passed away a few years ago, was one of those people like, how is this person not Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? As a matter of fact, when you're talking to Clark Judge, I believe he brought up, how is Joe Cocker not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I put on Joe Cocker actually on the way over to Savers last night to see what my daughter thought. She's like, he's okay for her. But I mean, a lot of Joe Cocker's songs, if you look at even his classic, his Grace Hits album, a lot of his songs are covers, right?
They're almost all covers. He didn't write shit.
She came in through the bathroom window, The Letter. What was the other one? The other Beatles song. Come on. The biggest Joe Cocker hits. I can't think of them. Anyway, so Joe Cocker's an interesting.
I'm too busy. Write for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, Ted, when you're doing all these shorts, please don't clip that.
Oh, with a little help from my friends. That's what it is. Then, of course, you got Up Where We Belong from An Officer and a Gentleman. Feel All Right.
I got a note about that song before when you're done. But anyway, go on.
Bro, which?
Up Where We Belong. Love Lift Up.
What about it?
So interesting thing. I was going to say up here in Canada, but I don't live in Canada anymore. Remember when I was doing before I sort of pulled the elevator show?
Mm-hmm.
So one of my elevator downs was Buffy St. Marie, who actually wrote that song.
Yeah.
She's now been removed from the Order of Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
Well.
So.
Yeah. So Joe Cocker, like I said, you're right. He didn't write many of his other things. I mean, a lot of his hits, as I said, Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood, not his. Like they're just, he's a heck of a singer. I love hearing his versions of stuff. I have his greatest hits album, but
for what it's worth, on Not in Hall of
he didn't cover that song, but anyway.
Oh, well done.
Thank you.
Well done. For what it's worth, on Not in Hall of Fame, you can vote, and the voting alters the rank every year. Two people, one you're going to talk about shortly, and the other one's Joe Cocker, is one of the highest rated of the acts that people come on and vote on. So the Not in Hall of Fame fans, or just voters, I shouldn't say fans, but voters, absolutely love Joe Cocker. And he's like climbed from like 120 to 30 or something.
Wow. So we'll see if he gets in. It's I'd have him lower on my list if I were voting.
On my want list, yeah. Although I do recommend, for those who are not familiar with him, if you're sort of a novice for this sort of thing, which I imagine if you're watching this part, you're not, but Mad Dog's an Englishman.
Yeah. And to be fair, if they want to stop the, hey, this isn't rock and roll, people from yelling at them, putting Joe Cocker in would be a pretty good way to help. So to be like, well, at least Joe Cocker is in. So anyway, another old group that is here for the first time, one of the few bands that has a song and off of an album that is the same name as the band, Bad Company.
That's the other one who has massive support.
Yeah, with their song Bad Company off of Bad Company, the record. It's them and They Might Be Giants. So no one's like I think of who do that. Big Country is close. No, but it's the name of the band's Big Country, and the song and album are in a big country. So it's close. But anyway. So what I would say is
Hey Bo Diddley. Yeah,
I would say Bad Company's got a decent shot of getting in as the band that we haven't put in. So this is last year was Foreigner. The year before that, we didn't really have one the year before that. But we got a whole bunch of them, over time that have gotten in after the first time in a long time. ELO, when they got in, as soon as they're nominated, you knew they were getting in. I think that this is a good list for Bad Company.
Also too, I mean, Paul Rodgers belongs in a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. One of the best rock and roll voices, not the best voice. If we're talking about the best voice, that's obviously Mariah Carey. No one's close.
Yes.
Rock and roll pure voice, Paul Rodgers. There's not any rock song he can't belt out.
That's true. I have one other person I'd put up there for the rock and roll voice who's on this list, but yeah, I put him there. So yeah, but Bad Company, I did not predict Bad Company being here. But in their spot, I had Thin Lizzy, who was nominated a few years ago. I thought Thin Lizzy might come back. But yeah, Bad Company, 100%, I think has a very good chance getting in. Okay. So sticking with, I'm going to just go the one that I think has the least chance of getting in, if anyone, and I can't believe they're here, is Mana.
I never heard of them.
So Mana is a very, very big in Latin rock. They're sort of founders of the transition. They're from Mexico. They're sort of somewhere between rock and roll and yacht rock. I don't know how the best to put Mana. Okay. This is a Bad Brains nomination to me. This is a Replacements nomination to me, in that they have their genre. They're real important within that genre, but most people have never heard of them.
I thought this was more of a Fela Kuti nomination.
Or I'd say Fellas, yeah, and Fela, again, congratulations to you after I made fun of you that Fela would never be nominated. But Fela is more influential and important on the lines of Kraftwerk than Mana, the Bad Brains, or the Replacements are. If that makes sense. Because
I see where
because Fela Kuti being the father of Afro beats, which are all over the place now in music. Same thing with Kraftwerk and and electronic music and all the stuff that they did getting in there. I know I said that what's his name was the guy for electronic music.
Herbie Hancock.
Herbie Hancock was the guy for electronic music. But I mean, Kraftwerk introduced it. Herbie Hancock's like Rocket is one. I know they did that weird thing that one year where they had the one song for the Hall of Fame that nobody knew was going to happen. Rocket is 100% that song that should be getting you in that situation, just for how important and influential it is. But yeah, I put Fela Kuti more in that category with Kraftwerk than I would put them with Mana and the Bad Brains. So I do not think Mana's getting in. I can't believe I've ever seen them. I ever saw them on a nominee list, particularly before Los Lobos. I mean, they predate Los Lobos, but if we're gonna do a Mexican band who made it here, it's Los Lobos is your group.
Did they ever have a hit here?
Los Lobos?
No, not Los Lobos.
Oh, Mana. I don't know. I listen to a lot of Latin music, so I know Mana decently well, but I can't even think of what song it would be. Mm-hmm. So, I can't imagine getting in. But watch, they'll get in, and we'll have no idea how. So they're the musical excellence candidate, whereas Chubby Checker is the
lifetime achievement.
Yeah, lifetime achievement one. Which what do we officially call that now? The
Ahmed Aragon.
Is that the official one?
I don't even know. No, that doesn't. There's no pattern.
The early influence. That's what I'm looking for. So we'll see if that means, but I can't imagine we're not getting it. All right. I guess taking the spot that was vacated by Dave Matthews Band, maybe?
Fish.
Speaking of someone without a hit that anyone cares about, Fish. Yeah. I mean, I love Bounce Around the Room and I love Down with Disease, but they are the ultimate jam band. So, I mean, Dave Matthews Band's a jam band. They're already in. Grateful Dead is in. Fish is, I guess, the next ones.
Yeah, I'd agree with that lineage. But Dave Matthews is a star.
Has a ton of top 40 hits.
Right. Fish is not. Fish is not a group of stars.
But they do have an ice cream flavor named after them. So
from Ben and Jerry?
Yeah, very good one.
Okay. Fish food. That seems like a Ben and Jerry type of band.
Yeah. Agreed. I don't know what their shot is of getting in here.
I think they have less of a shot than Mana does. I really do.
I have a hard time believing that.
Well, we'll never know.
We'll never know, right? Because we never get the results except for who gets in and then who they put in through the back door. But I expect this is Fish's first of several nominations they would need to get in.
Could be.
So, but they are here for the first time. Okay. So I did not predict Fish, by the way. All right. So we're down to, let's get to the ones that how many we have left? I think we have 3 left, right? So let's go with someone who I expected last year for the first time when they're eligible, but did not get it. But we're here this time. I predicted last year they'd be here. They didn't get in. Predicted them this year, and here they are. Outcast.
This is a great ballot for them.
This is a fantastic ballot for Outcast.
Yeah.
So A Tribe Called Quest is off. They don't have to worry about them anymore. I kind of felt like Tribe Called Quest is why they didn't show up last year. I also predicted Wu-Tang Clan would be on this ballot because Tribe is gone, but they are not here. So I think this is a fantastic ballot. Of course, they're the rap group here, but they also have songs that non-rap people would know. This is not what the hell did Kendrick Lamar say on the halftime show situation? Right? People know Miss Jackson. People know Bombs Over Baghdad. People know Hey Ya. God knows everyone knows Hey Ya. Mm-hmm. Right? They have enough big big hits here that now that they're here, I feel like this is a very easy ballot for them.
They also put Southern hip hop on the map.
Also true.
So now you're pretty much the only artist here flying a genre. I mean, there's no band even close to them here.
No. Legitimately nobody.
You're flying a region, you're flying a style. Outcast to me seems almost like a no-brainer, which means
they probably won't get in. So who knows?
Yeah, but I can't see a better dream ballot for them than this.
Yeah, this is the best possible ballot they could have ever hoped for.
Especially if some of the voters, and I'm sure some of them are, and there's always that criticism, whether you agree with it, whether you don't. Oh, the Rock Hall's so white. Well, so was this ballot.
Yeah, Outcast and Chubby Checker.
Mana.
I'm sorry, African American.
Yeah, right. So I can't see how. Again, this shouldn't matter, but again, because we don't know the voters, but a lot of the Rock Hall, a lot of the rock critics are progressive thinking individuals. Also, they're critics. They loved Outkast.
And last year we had Dionne Warwick, Big Mama Thornton, and getting through the back door. But then we also had Kool and the Gang, Mary J. Blige, and A Tribe Called Quest all got to get through the front.
So there you go. I mean, like, it's a near perfect ballot for them.
Agreed. Outkast, I think, has maybe the best chance of anybody getting in from this group. And then we get to my two other ones that go with Joy Division New Order, who I predicted this year because I feel like it. Now, one of which, let me start with the less likely one, but I've been so In Excess and the Black Crowes are the two bands I just don't understand what it needed for them to get on this ballot, right? I had In Excess as one of my people, and the Black Crowes coming up. The Black Crowes released their first album in 19 years this year and had a couple of hits on the jams on the top 40. This is the last year I thought it would be Tracy Chapman. She had her moment. Year before that, it was Kate Bush.
They blew that one, didn't they?
Yeah. But last year, it's Kate Bush. She had her moment 2 years ago. The Black Crowes, this is their moment. I am very excited to see them there. They are incredibly important in rock music, particularly in the 90s into 2000s transition. They are Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, capital letter Rock and Roll Hall of Famers to me personally. That said, I don't know if this is a great ballot for them.
A terrible ballot for them.
But it is the fact they are here is fantastic. And the reason I don't think it's a great ballot for them, we already talked about Bad Company and Soundgarden and Oasis and the White Stripes, who are a problem. But I think the other one, I think, is as good a choice to walk in as anybody. So a couple years ago, we had that. We had the Rock Hall reaction show with I can't think of his name from the Rock Hall thing we did.
Visitor Project. I can see it. Yeah, I can see his face too.
Oh my God, this is terrible. But
sorry if you're watching.
Yes, oh my God, we are old and we're not remembering stuff. But we went through that, and I said one of the biggest beneficiaries of, I believe it was the Eurythmics getting in, if I remember correctly, maybe it was someone else, was Billy Idol. I thought this cleared the path for Billy Idol because everybody else was kind of out of the way. Billy Idol is here, finally. There is, when I said rock voices, you brought up lead singer Bad Company.
Yeah.
Billy Idol is my other rock voice. There is nothing about that man that is not Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's nobody who dislikes Billy Idol.
Not these days. Yeah. I mean, like back in the day, I mean, he was the punk looking person who wasn't doing punk music.
Correct.
But White Wedding, Rebel Yell are two of the biggest bangers. I don't care what decade.
Correct.
And also, he's just this likable dude. I think also his induction helps Billy Idol, even though their music, I mean, you can be a fan of both of them, but they're not really the same. Ozzy. Old fart who was a likable dude who sort of like went through a lot and sort of came out still like hanging around, and like put him in a commercial making fun of himself.
True.
Their personalities are, from what we see, obviously, and what limited thing that we're allowed to see, they're not that different.
Yeah.
How much fun would that be?
And he's a survivor of he almost died back in 1990 with his motorcycle crash. The song, by the way, out of that came out, Bitter Taste, which was amazing, came out in 2021. That song is one of my favorite songs of this decade. Billy Idol's Bitter Taste. If you haven't seen it, go or heard it, go listen to it.
Just don't listen to cyberpunk.
Fair. But yeah, Billy Idol is, I mean, this is a tough ballot for Billy Idol, just the number of people sort of in the same sort of row here. Because for 80s stuff, you got, again, not that they necessarily saying the same, but you have Cyndi Lauper, you have New Order in Joy Division here.
Right.
If you're looking for rock, you got the Black Crowes, you got Oasis, you got Soundgarden, you got the White Stripes, and Bad Company. So you got a whole bunch of things that are competing with them. I don't think it's going to matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that Idol gets in out of this group.
Okay. Interesting.
So, and just by the way, my 15 who I nominated, I had Billy in the order.
You predicted.
Yeah, I predicted. Yeah, my predictions were Billy Idol, Outkast, Coldplay, who we still have not seen here yet, which was surprising. Diana Ross, Joy Division, New Order, INXS, Devo, Soundgarden, the Black Crowes, Mariah Carey, Oasis, Warren Zevon, who I thought would be back again in the songwriters category. Don't really have one of those. Yes, Chubby Checkers there. The Wu-Tang Clan, the White Stripes, and Thin Lizzy. So I had others who I was looking at. I was looking at Snoop. I was looking at the Smiths. I was looking at Beck. I was looking at Patti LaBelle again. I decided against all of them, and none of them got in here anyway. So
you did well.
I did pretty well. Yeah. So, like I said, this was all ready to go for this week, and then they made the announcement. I was gonna say, hey, I got my stuff together. And you said, no, they're doing the announcement tomorrow. I'm like, oh, well, never mind. So anyway.
So I guess we'll just move on to
sorry. So if you one last thing. If they're gonna put, in your opinion, they're gonna put in, let's see, last year they put in 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They put in last year. They're gonna put in 7 of these 15. Who do you think it's gonna be?
Okay.
And this, again, not your prediction.
No. Yeah. Outkast has the best shot, period.
Yeah.
Like we said, it's a dream ballot. The White Stripes probably should have been in already. And Jack White plays the game.
Okay.
Yeah, so the White Stripes would be who I would pick. I think out of Mariah Carey, Cyndi Lauper, it's going to be Mariah this time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the people who might be the older heads on this are chomping at the bit to put in Bad Company. Because how many times have we seen long time, first time?
Yeah.
Chubby Checker will somehow get in because it's the best feel good story.
Yeah.
I mean, sentiment could make you vote for him. It would make me think about it real hard. As much as I want Soundgarden to get through, I don't think they will. New Order, Joy Division is part of that. And my wild card here is I think this is very possible that we're going to see 2 women go through. I think Cyndi go in. Those are the 7 I would predict.
All right. So here's my predictions going through. I agree with you on Bad Company. This is the first time, long time they're going in. I have both Mariah and Cyndi Lauper.
Okay.
They're both going to get into this. Outkast is a very easy one for me. The White Stripes, I also think is very easy to go in with this group. That leaves me 2 spots. I'm going to go with Oasis over Soundgarden for one of those spots. I think the Black Crowes, like I said, are probably going to have to wait one more ballot at least. And then my last spot is still going to Billy Idol over anyone else. I do agree Chubby Checker gets in, but I think they're going to early influence him as a way to get in. I think he's a member of this class. I also think he goes in through the front door. And then I'm going to be mad that the Black Crowes, well, not mad at Black Crowes, but I'm going to be mad that Joy Division, New Order are in again, and Soundgarden's not in again, but that's what I think is going to happen. Okay. So maybe Joe Cocker is, you're right, has the support, but I don't know.
It's hard to say because, and amazingly, he's still alive.
Joe Cocker?
No,
he died. He's been dead a decade. He died in 2014.
Huh. Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, I'm the death guy. Believe me.
We didn't do death stuff then.
I know. My point is, I'm the death guy. Who knows? So
He looked like he was dead in 1984.
yeah. So he and George Thorogood. So
George Thorogood doesn't look like he was dead in 1984.
I know. He just sounded like he was.
Oh,
So
all right.
George Thorogood's still going though. He's 74. So
Well, speaking of Joe Cocker being dead, who joined him?
quite a few people. Well, we'll get through this quickly because we've gotten along. The Blage mistress got Janos Dunaj, the Hungarian soccer player, died at the age of 87. You're also a member of the bronze-winning team at the 1960 Summer Olympics in Rome. You say old age, I say secret Eastern European serial killer. Mm-hmm. Just some important people outside of stuff I just wanted to bring up quickly. L. Clifford Davis, who was Thurgood Marshall's law clerk and did a lot of the research for Brown versus Board of Education, which is one of the most important decisions in U.S. history. Also, he was the first African-American student ever to go to the University of Arkansas's law school after he sued to get in. But a very important person. He passed away at the age of 100.
Wow. So
he got an honorary doctorate from the University of Arkansas Law School, as a matter of fact, when he was 92. He's a member of the National Bar Association Hall of Fame and the NAACP's highest honor, the Robert Ming Award. He received that as well. So very, very important person. Also up there for super important, another of the Tuskegee Airmen, Harry Stewart Jr., passed away at the age of 100. One of 5 of the Tuskegee Airmen who had 3 confirmed shoot downs in one battle. He passed away at the age of 100. There are not that many of those guys left. Yeah, but we certainly one of the best flyers of any of them. Also passing away, Peter Tuiasosopo, who I knew best as E Honda in the Street Fighter movie back in the day. Also played football for the Cardinals and Rams in the 80s. Only played 3 total games. He's the uncle of Marcus Tuiasosopo, the former NFL quarterback. He passed away at the age of 61. Marion Wiesel, the wife of Elie Wiesel from Night and Dark, the very famous Night and Dawn, very famous books about the Holocaust. She passed away at the age of 94. Tony Roberts, who was in basically every
I remember him,
yeah, basically in every Woody Allen film, Annie Hall, Stardust Memories, Midsummer Night's Comedy, Hannah and Her Sisters, Radio Days, like pretty much all of them. He passed away at the age of 85. Kevin Major Howard, best known as Rafterman in Full Metal Jacket. Did you ever see Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah, been a while, but yeah.
Yeah, so one of the other guys there, he passed away at the age of 69. Later became the king of Hollywood headshots. So he became a photographer after retiring, took everyone's publicity photos. Yeah, so he retired in 99 and basically has been a headshot photographer for all the stars since then. And a personal one to me, the only musical I have ever walked out of in my entire life was Jesus Christ Superstar. It had the original Jesus playing up against a 19-year-old girl. This was 2008. Jesus in 2008 was 62 years old. That Jesus himself, Bob Bingham, passed away at the age of 78. It was so uncomfortable with a 62-year-old hitting on a 19-year-old on stage. Was just too much for me. And plus, the NCAA tournament was on, so we walked across the street. This is the only musical I have ever walked out, and I'm a musical person. So,
got me beat. I've never walked into a musical.
Oh, I love musicals very, very much. But that one was I could not do it. All right. So we lost from the 1960 gold medal Olympic winning U.S. national team, Richard Meredith, who won a gold in hockey in 50 and 60 and the silver in 56 in Cortina. He passed away at the age of 92. He's also NCAA first team player from the 1953 NCAA hockey tournament. So aren't that many of those people still around either.
Can't imagine.
U.S. Olympian Dwayne Kozlowski passed away at the age of 65, won a gold in wrestling at the 1987 Indianapolis Pan American Games and the gold medal at the Division III Championships in 1981. As I said, he was 65. From the world of music, we only really lost one person this week, which is kind of amazing. Yeah. And it's not somebody you necessarily think of directly being involved in music. Actually, we lost two people from music this week. I apologize. So the first one is a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, Tommy Hunt of the Flamingos, the lead singer of the Flamingos. He passed away at the age of 91. Flamingos were inducted into the Doo-Wop Hall of Fame into 2001. And then the Rock Hall, when were the Flamingos? Back in 1986 as one of the original class. So as I said, he passed away at the age of 91. Flamingo's biggest hit. Now, these are all doo-wop from 57 through 60, so I'm not exactly sure. I only have Eyes for You is probably the one I can think of the most. And the other one who was interesting to pass away from the world of music was David Edward Byrd, who was a graphic artist more than anything else, but he designed so many album covers. It's kind of crazy. He also actually did the original poster for Woodstock. But then Woodstock moved locations and he was on vacation and couldn't be reached. And so they redid his poster for the famous one that you've seen. But he's the one who designed the original Woodstock poster. He also did, going back to Broadway, did Jesus Christ Superstar, among others, Follies, Godspell, Robert Bridegroom, Grand Tour, Survival, St. Joan, Little Shop of Horrors, a whole bunch of others. Did the Fair Warning album by Van Halen. Like, there's all sorts of, if you ever saw his stuff, you'd be like, he has a very distinct style. Almost, I'd say the Grateful Dead style is actually David Edward Byrd's. So he did Grateful Dead, Traffic, Ravi Shankar, Iron Butterfly, Jimi Hendrix, Jefferson Airplane, Rolling Stones, Kiss, The Who, Lou Reed. So like he's the one who did the poster for Tommy for The Who, for example.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you had seen so much of his work without realizing who he was. But he passed away from COVID at the age of 83. Going to football, one-time Pro Bowler Ernie Kellerman played with the Cowboys, Browns, Bengals, and Bills, was a safety with mostly known at the time with the Browns, Pro Bowler in 68, second team All-Pro in 69. Passed away at the age of 81. Also passing away, Don Muma, who is a member of the College Football Hall of Fame for his time with UCLA. First team All-Pacific Coast Conference in 50, 51, and 52. His number 80 is retired by the NCAA, by the UCLA Bruins. He's a center and a linebacker for the team. Also played in Canada for a couple of years, the Argonauts and Rough Riders. He passed away at the age of 93. And I'd say the biggest name from football this week who passed away, former Bears coach, Dick Duran, passed away at the age of 74. Coach of the year back in 2001 for the NFL with his time with the with the Chicago Bears. Is also head coach of the Bills from 06 to 09. Defensive back coach with the Bills and Packers, defensive coordinator of the Jags during their good run there with I can think of his name, Tom Coughlin. But yeah, he passed away at the age of 74. Also played with the Lions and Bengals and made the Pro Bowl in 74 as a member of the Lions as a safety. Also three-time first all-team first Ivy League as well. So, but he passed away in Swampscott, Massachusetts, where he was from originally. Actually, one of the top 10 Massachusetts all-time football players, Dick Jordan. So, according to the Boston Globe, anyway. From the world of wrestling, your version of wrestling, Gran Hamada passed away.
Who's that?
Gran Hamada.
Oh, yeah, I don't know that much about him. He was, other than he was a Japanese wrestler who wrestled and competed in Mexico and then just fell in love with that culture and became a decent star in Mexico. His daughter, because he married a Mexican lady. Mm-hmm. His daughter became a wrestler, Ayoka Hamada.
Yep. He has another daughter, Yoshito Hamada, which is as Aztec a name as you can get, which is hilarious. Aztec first name and a Japanese last name. So
gotta love it. But no, he's one of those people. He just found his passion his passion for wrestling and the love of Mexico. I think I only saw him wrestle a couple times, not live, just on TV.
Yeah, so he passed away at the age of 74. From the world of poker, Miami, John Cernuto, who has a 3 bracelets World Series of Poker. I've seen him on TV. I don't watch poker as much as I used to, but I've seen him on TV quite a few times. He passed away at the age of 81, won $6.2 million in live tournament winnings during his career. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
30 finishing the money 65 times. Highest he ever did in main event was 345th, because that's a ridiculous thing. But he won 3 bracelets on the World Series of Poker, which is not an easy thing to do.
No, it is not.
One of the few remaining in basketball, one of the few remaining people from the 1953 NCAA champion Indiana Hoosiers, Burke Scott, passed away at the age of 92. He's a member of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. As his coach Branch McCracken is as well. But he was also, and actually both of his high school coaches are members there as well, Ivan Holland and Andy Taft. But again, he passed away at the age of 92. There cannot be that many people left from the 1953 championship team. I have not looked it up. But that was a long time ago. I mean, my dad, so I guess there are a few, because the 47 championship team has Bob Cousy still hanging out. So who knows?
Basketball teams are a lot smaller than other sports teams. So
that is true. All right. From the world of reporting, I guess, and auto racing, Ed Hinton, the longtime motorsports columnist for ESPN, passed away at the age of 76. Best known for controversy, I'd say, more than anything. So he wrote 1993. He wrote a book called "Turning the Thing Around," where he profiled Jimmy Johnson and followed them around for a year, and then he got hired by a senior writer for Sports Illustrated. There was a tire went to the audience in the Indy Racing League, and 3 spectators were killed. And his credit, the way he covered it, was deemed insensitive by the Indy Racing League, and they pulled his credentials. And in response, both the Detroit News and Chicago Tribune said they would boycott the race. So the Indy Racing League gave his credentials back. The other one was that when Dale Earnhardt Sr. died, he sued for the autopsy photographs, saying it was public record, and that ended up not happening, because he said that he suspected that he died like Ken Irwin and Adam Petty with the skull fracture, and wanted to do a thing on safety, and everybody got mad. And finally they settled when the NASCAR came out with the full report. So
yeah, I could see why that'd be uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable just hearing that.
Yeah. But Hinton was involved for many, many years. He's one of the few racing people who I actually read his stuff on. He passed away at the age of 76. We got 2 last ones. One was a big one I missed last week, but Japanese baseball Hall of Famer Yoshio Yoshida passed away at the age of 91, pitched from 1953 through 1969 with the Osaka Tigers or Hanshin Tigers, and there was a manager for them many times in 1969, 75 through 77, 85 through 87, 97 to 98. So he managed that team in 4 different decades. But he passed away at the age of 91. His number 23 is retired over there. Also managed the French baseball team when they try to qualify for the 92 and 96 Summer Olympics.
Oh, okay.
So they did not make it, but his nickname over there was just Monsieur Yoshida. And everyone would call him and apparently Monsieur. The last one, though, who was a big name who I just missed the first time through, Fay Vincent, former commissioner of baseball, passed away on February 1st at the age of 86, graduated from Williams College and then Yale Law School, was the MLB commissioner, basically became deputy commissioner under Bart Giamatti, but a major role negotiating the settlement with Pete Rose when he was the betting scandal. Giamatti died, and then Vincent became the acting commissioner from there, and then presided over that 89 World Series. That was his first World Series when the earthquake happened.
Right.
And then the owners lockout during spring training the next year. And he's also one who kicked George Steinbrenner out of baseball for a while. So a lot that had to do with that. Also, Joe West at one point, forgotten, slammed pitcher Dennis Cook to the field in 1990, and Bill White, the manager of National League, was to suspend him, and Vincent stepped in without it, which was weird. So, yeah, a whole bunch of stuff happened as things. Any thoughts?
Wasn't he sort of like forced out by the owners?
Yeah.
Like one of those rare occasions where the owners didn't have the backing of a commissioner?
Yeah, he got a non-confidence vote in 1992.
Okay.
So his forced out because he broke up the 90 lockout because they wanted to keep salaries low. And he's like, no, we're not going to do that. And so they forced him out after that. So
yeah, it didn't work out too well, huh?
No, that's when they had Bud Selig take over, because the people who forced him were Selig, Reinsdorf, Stanton Cook, who are the Cubs, Paul out of the Twins, Peter O'Malley of the Dodgers, and William Bartolome of the Braves. His farewell, he said, "To do the job without angering an owner is impossible. I can't make all 28 of my bosses happy. People have told me that I'm going to be the last commissioner. If so, it's a sad thing. I hope the owners, learn this lesson before too much damage is done." And then they went on strike in 94 and nearly killed the sport. So there you go. Lots of stuff also was involved in Steve Howe's situation and permanently.
Here's a name I haven't heard about in 20 years.
Yeah. So
how many times does that guy get suspended? Like 7 times for cocaine or something?
A lot.
Yeah.
And then an arbitrator overturned Steve Howe's suspension. He's also the one who the expansion revenue with the Rockies and Marlins coming in. He's the one who got that involved as well. So,
well, this was a long 2-part episode. I kind of like when we do those.
Yeah.
Unless there's anything else you want to close with. All right. Well, thank you all so much. Thank you all for watching this. Wherever you are, wherever you may be, make today count because it never comes again. Take care, everyone.
Take care, guys.